last chakra, you will project from your pineal a vector line, a straight line of your consciousness. And we are going to point this vector once again to Egypt, to the pyramid or the Sphinx, whichever you prefer. Once you've projected your vector line to the location that you desire, you're going to bring the consciousness back, leaving the vector line as a bridge. Then you are going to take your awareness. There's a little point of light. You're going to move it down into the heart chakra. The heart chakra corresponds to the fourth dimension, which corresponds to the astral body. It is a bit like mousing things and moving things on the computer screen. Click on the little dot in the center of the heart chakra, which is a little point of light. And begin to move your consciousness upward, as if you were moving a word on a page within the computer screen. Begin to feel as if the symbol code is now moving upward through your body. Once it was down around your feet, all around you. Now it is beginning to move upward. Feel the bottom of it at your knees now, instead of it below your feet. Try to get a sense that as you do this, there are actually 2 sets of feet, 2 sets of legs, 2 bodies. And right now, try to get a feeling that the feet of your astral body are actually positioned where your knees are located. Try to feel this. The more you practice this, the more you can begin to feel this. When you begin to feel the feet and the knees, then take your consciousness, leave the body there, the astral body there, move the consciousness into the head of the astral body, the head which will be positioned above your head now. Try to station your consciousness in the 6th chakra of your astral body, which will be a few inches or a few feet above your head, physical head. Try to get a sense of your consciousness flowing out from a few feet above your head, and also simultaneously from your own regular vector of consciousness that's stationed in your face. If you work with this, you will feel distinctly 2 faces, 2 selves. Now, with your astral body, and while feeling the reality of your physical body simultaneously, find the vector that you projected, the bridge of linear forward movement that you projected to Egypt. And begin to move your consciousness along the bridge, but take the body with you this time. Take the astral body. Feel it begin to dislodge. It may come out forwards, it may roll out sideways, it may just pop up higher, higher, higher till it pops out. Get a feel for it. There will be a natural way that your astral body releases from the physical. It may roll, it may pull, it may sound like skin separating from itself. Everybody's is a little different. Try to move it up now. Move it outward, down that vector that you projected to Egypt. Imagine your astral body now, with its feet stationed upon that time vector, walking it forward like a bridge of light. Slowly, so you don't lose track of your astral body. Move your feet across the bridge of light until you reach the destination of either the Great Pyramid or the Sphinx, wherever you put your vector line. First, position yourself as you step off the bridge of light. Position yourself outside of the structure rather than inside. And stand there for a moment in front of the monument you chose. And say mentally to yourself, let the ancient eyes open now. I am ready to see you. Let the eyes of your astral body, which can begin seeing your incarnational matrix, let them open. And if you wake up tomorrow feeling like you have two sets of eyes, one are open, one are closed, you've done a good job today. You're standing before the monument now. Do your best to gaze upon it with the astral eyes. What you may feel first is you see everything there, but you see no visuals. Rather, you feel. You feel the energy signature and know exactly what it looks like, but you're not seeing pictures in your head yet, and that's okay. You're still reading the energy signature. It's just DNA that has to fire to get the clear pictures in. Right now, in this state, as simple as this exercise was, you are in a state of multi-factor consciousness. One part of your consciousness is here listening to me. The other part is standing, gazing upon a monument in Egypt, thousands of miles away. And you are aware of both. Now focus within your astral body again. Hear the sound of my voice as if it is a voice in the head of a you that is standing in Egypt. Let become real the objects that are in Egypt, and let become unreal and dreamlike for a moment. This room that you are in, and the bodies around you, and my body standing before you. Let that be a dream for a moment. Try again to open the ancient eyes and see the monuments. You may see them as they are in their present time, or for many of you, you may see them as you knew them most well, in different time periods, before they were old, before they fell apart. Try to remember any visions you give now. For these will be visions that are not something you're imagining or creating right now. These will be visions, flashes, of your own incarnational memory matrix for times when you were there. Because everyone on this planet, everyone, has an association of being incarnate or discarnate within and around the Giza complex since it was built. There's a piece of each of you stationed there that holds your connection to the most ancient of ancient things. And as you begin to develop the strength of this time vector toward Egypt, it will take you to the appropriate past of that time where you were there, where what you need to heal now exists. The more you do this, the more you will strengthen that. So one day you find yourself literally in bilocation, where you are physically in both bodies and you know it and you can feel it. That is the potential of this exercise, but it takes practice, practice, practice. This is the beginning. You're setting frequencies in your neurological structure right now that are opening dormant neural passages that will allow your consciousness to become multi-vector. When you go home this evening, before bed, try to remember this exercise. Build a bridge of light. The only parts you need to remember most. Use the symbol code. Put yourself as a dot in the center. Build a bridge of light. And try to Egypt again. I'm sending you there because there's something for each of you to pick up there. Try to build it again. Move yourself over there. Walk across the bridge back to Egypt. Stand before the structures again. Try to get those ancient eyes opened. And if you do this before you go to sleep, you may find yourself in a very rapid projection where you feel the process of your astral body fully separating from the physical, and then you'll lose consciousness until you come back. And then you remember it, hopefully. But if you can keep yourself awake, you can keep the multi-vector going, where you can follow the astral body. Stay conscious. You don't lose the memory that way. You don't have to dig for the sequence. So try it tonight in your sleep. What I'm going to have you do now is I'm not going to leave your astral body standing out there looking at the Great Pyramids. You'll be a little crowded over there, because lots of them do that already. We're going to come back across the bridge. Turn around in your astral body and walk back across the bridge of light. Feel yourself coming back in to the room, but you are still positioned up above your physical body, where your feet of the astral body would be stationed at about where the heart chakra is on the physical body, as if you're standing on your own breast area. From that perspective, I'm going to have each of you move over to the wall on your right, whichever that is. You're going to take the astral body. You're not going to put it back in the physical body quite yet. Move it over as if it's walking across the room in front of the people that are next to you. And each of you stand against the wall with your astral body, with your back against it, where you're looking back at your physical body in the chair. Try to get a sense of your consciousness being in both places, especially within the astral body. Imagine yourself as physical, standing against the wall. Feel the feeling of the wall behind your back. Feel it. Tip your head back a little and feel the back of your head rub against the wall. And you're like, sound that only happening if you rubbed your hair against the wall. Reach one of your hands back in your astral body and drum with your fingers upon the wall. Feel the feeling, the solid hitting the fingertips as if it's your physical body that's standing there. Make it as real as possible, because you will draw more of your consciousness into your astral body when you do this. Try very hard to open those astral eyes and see your body sitting wherever it is sitting in the room. And don't be surprised if rather than looking physical, it looks like a glowing, sparkling form of light. For that is what in truth we look like. If you work with this, you will find a body besides the one you have here to roam around in. You can put it in the room you're in. You can send it to your neighbors. You can send it to visit children that you miss or relatives in the hospital. You have an emissary that's a part of you, and this is the beginning of learning to be multi-vector functional. First is D4 functional, then there's D5, and higher and higher. This is the beginning. Now we're going to come back slowly. Feel yourselves walking away from the wall. Feel the air move behind you as you pull your back away from the wall in your astral body. You're walking towards your body. For a moment, when you get to your body, stand in front of it. Try to see it again as you stand in front of it. Then turn around and sit on its lap in your astral body. And gently move yourself backwards a little and feel the two bodies come into register. Once they come back into register, then imagine again, remember the symbol code that you had around you that was spinning that you lost track of because it began to move so fast that your Merkaba spiral spun. Now you will begin to bring it back down into vision, which means you're slowing the frequency. You're slowing the spin and the Merkaba. You're bringing the astral body back into the frequency patterns and your consciousness back into the frequency patterns of the third dimension. Just for a moment with your eyes closed. Just for a moment. And now we're going to do something very interesting. It's called face flashing. You can keep your eyes open or closed as you listen to me explain it, and we're going to do it. It takes two people. Look around you and pick the person closest to you, the one that would be sitting on whichever side, and let us see if everyone, I don't know if we brought everyone back yet. Anybody that's still in Egypt, come home. Yes, there they are, they're coming back. Now we're going to do something special while we still have the state. I want you to turn toward the person closest to you and look into their eyes. Look into their eyes. We're going to put a little bit of light on in the room for this so we can begin to see the effects. Okay, let's put a little bit of light in the back. Can somebody do this light here? Yeah, that's good. There's a little bit in the back there. We need a little bit of light to see what happens here. We've just entered a very special state. The consciousness in the room went someplace. I felt it go because I went with it. Now, for a moment, gaze into the eyes of the person next to you. It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if you know them or not. And don't worry, nobody's invading your fields. Nobody can read your thoughts. You're all safe. Look into the eyes of the person next to you and begin to concentrate. Look right into the eyes. Don't be afraid. You have nothing to hide. You're a beautiful being of light, and so are they. And that is all. There's nothing to hide. Some people have a hard time with that, to look into someone's eyes. If you're sitting with someone, if you're sitting in a row where there's no one to share that with, turn to the person in back of you who's probably in the same predicament and try to reach each other with the eyes. Good. Okay. Now, stare into each other's pupils and say to yourself, I surrender. I am not here to judge. I am here to see. I don't know if everybody's going to be patient enough, because sometimes this can take a few minutes. But I will tell you how to do it, and you can do it at home with someone you know better. Stare into the eyes for a little while, and try not to blink. Stare as much as you can without blinking, and after a while your eyes start to burn and say, I want to blink, I want to blink. You are getting frequency from each other's eyes. And after a while your eyes say, oh, too much frequency. If you move beyond that, and keep letting that frequency move between you and the other person's eyes, your souls are transmitting a hello to each other. If you move past it and try to keep the eyes open, eventually you will start thinking your eyes are playing tricks on you. Because you will start to see blank spots appearing. They may appear as little dark spots first, little flickers here and there. But if you keep the eyes open as consistently as possible, and when you have to blink, blink once, but come right back to it. And build that frequency. This is a Kundalini technique. Build that frequency in the eyes. You will begin to see large areas of the person's face almost seem as if they disappeared into a black hole, and you will think your vision is failing you. But it is not. You are getting the eyes used to a frequency, picking up on a higher frequency, where they can begin to see the space between moments. And within that space between moments, the more you can build to being able to see those dark spots appear until eventually the whole person's face disappears. And what you will see flash on when their face flashes off will be one of their incarnational selves, probably one you knew. You can do this with yourselves in the mirror too.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I did it.
When you get good at this, you will be amazed because you will literally see the other person's face disappear. You are shifting into a different frequency pattern. Completely. Not just your mind, your body too. You're seeing the space between the fission and fusion that creates the cellular structure of the matter body through the scalar grids. It is very real. And you can take this technique. You can use it with a mate, which will help you to really come to know each other much more deeply. Or you can use it with yourself and see what faces can flash back at you in the mirror. And it's pretty intense when it starts to happen. You can read your incarnational matrix this way. By training the focus to hold a consistent focus. And that's a patience thing, but it's worth it. You will start to see your faces flash. And if you don't get it at first with the physical eyes, don't be surprised if you start getting faces flashing within the next couple of days. If you start seeing faces spontaneously appear in your head, they will probably be you. Or the person you were looking at here. Either way, if it's the person you were looking at here, you can ask, say, is that me or them? Look at a feeling. And say, okay, if that was them, that must be me that goes with them. And if there's a me that goes with them, let me see that one. You can start to find yourselves. And when you find the faces and the places that you used to live in, the places and spaces you live right now, because time is simultaneous, you will rapidly become multi-vector, you will rapidly embody your soul. When we do this, you will learn to be able to do things that you can't even imagine right now. Because we've done this exercise, you may, within the next 3 days, begin to have spontaneous out-of-body experiences when you go to sleep. Don't let it scare you. If you all of a sudden find yourself hanging upside down on your ceiling and can't figure out how to get those legs down and your head up, this just means you need practice. If you end up at really rapid speed flying through the air, and then you smack against the wall, just realize your vibration wasn't modulated quite right. It doesn't hurt as much in the astral. It's not like getting squashed on a wall.
Where'd you go?
You are entering fourth dimensional consciousness. We're going to bring you back now, all the way back. We'll talk a little bit about the history in a minute or two after we get everybody back in focus. Tell you a little bit about what's going on, about Iberia. Also, because I didn't want to lose any of it, by us running out of time. Did anybody have any shifting of consciousness during that experience? To raise your hands if anybody had any shifting of consciousness type of experience with that. Well, that's pretty good. Not bad for a first try. Now, these things are cumulative. We're going to have advanced versions of these on tapes as soon as I can get the transcripts down. It's like there's not enough of them. But this was just introduced, how to do this. Even with me, they used to use certain techniques to get me to get out of body and learn how to do this. Eventually, you'll find your own home technique that works very quick. What you got by taking your consciousness on this journey this time were certain codes activated in the DNA and in the morphogenetic field that will begin releasing the phase lock between the three-dimensional and the astral body. So if you start to have weird experiences that really aren't weird, they're actually good experiences, realize that they're coming because of this experience. It may take usually 3 days when you start to have some weird effects happen. But they're okay. It means you're making progress. If you start to feel yourself peeling out of your body while you're fully awake and driving or something, simply command it, no, not now. Remember, it's you. It's you at D4, and you tell it what to do. You direct it. You got to remember this. If you start to, you know when it might pop up while you're awake is if you're really bored. If you're sitting somewhere and you're really bored, you may find yourself floating out of your body over to the right or left, or if you're really curious about something. You may spontaneously catch yourself spying on somebody or a situation like, was I doing that? Because at first, when it starts to happen, that part of you and this part of you don't always let each other know what you're doing. So you will find you're doing something in the astral, and this part will catch up on it and say, what are we doing? Eventually, you will gain control over being able to move that part of you out. And once you get out there, you don't have to hold the form of the physical body anymore. You can turn it into light. You can turn it into an elephant if you want to, which is pretty cool. If you want to know how an elephant feels, turn yourself into one. And you will feel what it feels like to be an elephant. It's very good for helping you to understand partners and things like that, too. Do I really want to know what they feel? Do I really want to understand? Okay, well, suspend all the judgment, turn myself into them, and really experience it like they are. This is a really good way to look at yourself and go, oh, boy, I can be rough sometimes, can't I? Yes.
During the meditation, right, I slipped into sleep. So did I still get the
Anybody here slip into sleep during this? I love it. Okay, guys, this is busted. You haven't activated more than 3 of your D4 strand codes yet. 4th strand codes, okay? The first 3 that connect the 4th strand to the 3rd strand, if they're not activated, you will hit a frequency saturation point, and you'll go, but you won't be able to process the memory. So when you come back here, you were asleep. Asleep is never asleep. This is the exciting part. Asleep is when you went someplace, but you don't have the gene code to translate where it was. Okay? So if you fell asleep, you hit a saturation point, that's all. The more you push that point, the further you'll go with it. The more you will be able to stay awake, the more you will be able to do this. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of funny. I have people fall asleep in some of my private classes on a regular basis, and it's almost like a private joke. It's like, well, they hit saturation point again. The DNA can't take anymore right now. And they grow past it. Yeah, everybody grows past it. But it's very normal. That's why I asked the whole group if they'd had that happen. Okay. You know what? I think, because I do not want to miss the opportunity to have Preston Hunt and Nancy Nidell do their thing, I'm going to let them do their thing first. They're going to introduce some really neat stuff. You've all already seen some of Preston's interesting things. Now, this is chelantic science in motion, and it makes it fun, which bypasses any, do I have to learn more? No, play for a while, okay? There are reasons why things like this are incorporated into the program, because they are helping you to shift, and they are helping you to activate DNA too. We're going to let them do some things on, I'm not sure what he has in mind. I think we're going to explain a little bit about how the medallions and things work, or did you do that already?
Kind of.
Yeah, he has a surprise. He told me that they organized this thing together, so I'm going to kind of like sit there and watch with you. But it's about chelantic art, and it's about using rhythms. And then we're going to go into part of what we're going to be asked to do on January 31st, or December 31st, January 1st. Okay, here you go. Press the button. Sure. Great. Okay. You want me to explain resonance alignment imagery while you get a couple things
As it
together?
relates to her art.
Sure. Okay. We're going to go into resonance alignment imagery a little bit here. Now, it's called resonance, which is like a vibrational harmonization. Alignment, meaning bringing resonance into alignment with each other. One vibrational pattern into alignment with another vibrational pattern. Imagery, meaning something you see that can do this to vibration. Okay. Now, I was taught chelantic science, resonance alignment imagery, in a very interesting way. They would take me on bilocation projections to Tara, show me certain sites on Tara. And from those sites, they would say, now remember everything you can see before you. Just remember everything you can see. Pretend you're taking a picture with your eyes. Okay, so I do that. They bring me back, and they say, now make a drawing or a painting of it. All right, so I do it. Do you know what that has the power to do? Look nice on the wall? I mean, remind me of home? I don't know what. They explained to me. It created a frequency bridge between the space that I went to and back here. They said, have somebody use it in meditation and move through it. They will climb the frequencies contained in the molecular structure of the energy signature of that thing you just brought back from a future space-time location, and it will get their consciousness there. This is how I was taught resonance alignment imagery. The concept behind it is everything is an energy signature. As we talked about earlier, I talked about this a little bit. Paintings, walls, people, it's all simply energy signatures. Interwoven energy signatures. You have higher dimensional ones that vibrate higher and lower dimensional ones that vibrate lower. Because if you can realize everything is energy, you can realize that when an artist creates, what they're really creating is taking their consciousness and where it is and where it went, and the frequencies that their consciousness is composed of and exposed to, and putting them into a set of shapes and patterns that again are energy patterns. And then they create an art form. That art form is a freeze frame of that energy signature. It can be used to reaccess that energy signature, not only by the one who made it, but by other people who use it. Now it's funny when you use like regular artwork that people don't think too much about, and you try to go into it, you get like a really bland kind of look. Yeah, I'm still here, it doesn't do anything for me. But when you start to get higher dimensional art, people are hitting higher states of consciousness when they're making the art. They're setting a frequency bridge for you. So when you move into that art and try to move your energy into the energy signature, you're picking up frequency patterns that will take you to the places the artist has been. We're going to be training artists to go in projection to specific places on Terra to help in the ascension process. Bringing back the imagery, be it symbol codes, some of it will be abstract, some of it will be buildings, things like that. They're creating bridges. You put these things in public places, they are creating not only bridges that people can go this way if they know enough to project, they are creating things that transmit energy the other way. It transmits energy from that frequency pattern back into ours. You can align time vectors by using things things like art and music and tone. So the things they're going to do right now, which is a little bit of a surprise, is working on the same principles. It's resonance, alignment, imagery. I'll turn you over to Preston Hunt and Nancy Nadell.
All right, thank you. So what I'd like to share is something experiential here. I'd like to set up experience for Nancy's painting, and we're going to be going through some language of light music shapes here. Some of you have probably seen these before with the booth that we do at the expo, and possibly heard some of the music. So what this will do is this will help with the frequencies that are moving forwards and backwards simultaneously, help connect neurons in the brain, and also something that's wonderful about our body is there are 72 joints in the human body. Also, there are 72 sacred names of God, and these resonate with different frequency angles. And so, besides the chakra energy centers we have on our body, we have little vortexes or chakras on each joint as well that resonate with different frequencies. If you allow yourself to breathe in the sound frequency and the color frequencies, it will help balance the emotions. We're going to go through 7 of these, and the 7th one I do not have a visual picture of. It is the cross, and it's a different type of cross. It's circular in nature. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold up one of her paintings, which has many different frequencies, color frequencies in it. And then what we'll do on that is we'll hold that for a few minutes. And what you do is you're going to look into the center of that, allow your eyes to relax and gaze into the distance, about 2 miles into the distance. And then there are some fairy angel guides that you can look at and allow your gaze to go to. So when we're finished with the geometric shapes, we're going to bring up the painting. And then what I'd like you to do is 3 breaths on the center and relax your eyes and allow your eyes to move to the different fairy being on the outer edges. And this can be for frequency food for your body. So this is about 10 minutes or so. Okay, here we go.
If anybody's tired, let's take a break, a real short one after that, so you can walk around and stretch. Okay? Yeah.
remaining ones, feel free to move your body. However you feel like moving. While breathing, too. Breathe. Geometry of water on the molecular level.
Thank you.
Feel it go down your spine, up your spine, out your arms, up. Couple minutes. 3 breaths in the center. Relax, gaze 2 miles into the distance. Breathe it in. Then go to the outer spheres and circles for 3 breaths.
Did everybody sit down?
Yeah, we can't see it.
Did you say that again?
3 breaths in the center. Keep your body relaxed. Allow your eyes to gaze at the beginning of the 4th breath. The angel guide will bring you to a higher level of frequency, balance, harmony. Breathe the frequencies in.
take a few more breaths. When you're comfortable, close your eyes. Breathe in all the frequencies. Allow your body to feel. Allow your heart to feel. Frequency food, and Nancy has these prints available. These are on canvas, and I believe they're about $100 for, not this big, but for a print. And we'll have a catalog of some of her prints on the back table as you're walking out if you'd like to order.
Also, these are used with 3D glasses for 3 minutes before meditation. So what you do is, when you put these on, the painting is going to change color, usually from red to blues, and then all of a sudden it'll come back. When it comes back, that means the left and right hemisphere of your brain has a full connection. It's a stronger connection. So you can go into your meditation a lot stronger.
I didn't want to interrupt it all. But I wanted to say one thing. One really neat thing to do is when you're looking at one of those, cross your eyes just a little bit and bring your point of focus right to about here, where you're just a little bit off. And stare at it that way for a while, too. You will begin to do the same thing that the glasses do, which is synchronize the both hemispheres of the brain. And you will begin to see things pop out of there that weren't there when you first looked at them. Okay? That will help you to bring the love inside the brain back into synchronization with each other, so they get used to operating concurrently and simultaneously. Any of this type of thing. In fact, you can take any kind of artwork, particularly geometrical type stuff that has lines and things like that, and you can play these games with your eyes. It will directly affect what your brain is doing. Shift your focus a little. Cross the eyes, cross them a little. There's a very special point that you will find if you play with crossing and uncrossing them. Don't leave them that way that long. You don't just cross them and stay there. Wouldn't want to get stuck, as they used to say in the old days. But if you play with it, bring them in and then back, bring back. You will find a place where you actually see more clearly, but in a different way. You're seeing stuff that you don't see when your eyes are going like this. But there is a place of pure focus where you see something completely different in the same space. And it's just as much vision as what you have when you're going this way. Another neat way to show yourself it's true is, anybody ever do this? I used to do this as a kid. Look at street lights. The single bulb street lights, and cross your eyes. Anybody ever do that? Not for long, but just really. They turn into these gorgeous starbursts, big round mandalas and a beautiful glowing energy. And they used to bring them back and forth all the time to watch it. So there's a lot to playing with things like your eyes. That's why I wanted to introduce play here, because play can be just as, sometimes more as effective in helping you than too much data, especially heavy stuff like I talk about. So. Now, we're going to take a short break, but I don't know. I'll leave this up to a hand show. I have one more little thing that I want to add to the end of this, since we went through this period of experiencing vibrational reality. That's what we were doing. And by the way, just so you know, next time you have an opportunity of somebody coming up and showing you some kind of things like this, we're so used to, conditioned to, sitting there. When you hear a beat moving like that, give your body permission to get up and go. Let the frequency run through you. Let it move. We're taught not to move. We're taught to stay stuck. And we do, like the little soldiers. We gotta get out of that. When we do meditations, fine, we should start them here. Yes, we can go out in spaces. And we should take them on their feet. And we should do circles. And we should dance. And we should spin. Move the frequency through your body, through your consciousness. You will bring in more energy. You will harmonize the energy fields more. I didn't want to interrupt the presentation that was being given, but I'm kind of going, tell them to move, come on. People aren't used to this. We're used to sitting attentively and listening. Even if our backs are killing us and our ankles are swollen because we really need to stretch those legs, that kind of thing. We need to learn to move again, to let ourselves, our consciousness move, our bodies move, our emotions move, everything. So next time you have that kind of opportunity, you'll know what to do, Or I won't have to get little signs. Oh, Adam, tell me to move. I just want to tell you. Because that's what things like that are meant to do. And you'll know next time you see some wild-looking art. It's great with geometric stuff. Look at it in several perspectives. You may have some people in the art galleries think you're a little strange because you're going, crossing your eyes. What is that person's problem? I'm perceiving multidimensionally, excuse me. That's an appropriate response. Oh. They won't touch that one, most likely. Fine. Nice day. So I guess people are like roaming around. Do you want to take a break right now? Yeah. Yes. Okay, then I will come back in with what I was going to end up with here, which is one more quick exercise in vibration. We'll take a 10 and then come back fast because there's still stuff I want to talk about. Basically, where are we? Yeah. It also has people kind of in the middle of the video. I'm trying to get the video on it so it's available to people who want to buy it from other parts of the country. Anybody back there like to flicker the lights to let them know that it's showtime? Eventually, we have a maid. Yeah. So we're trying to find a way to make it reasonably priced. They were like $400. Okay. Where did we go? Oh, you know what? I think I lost my Mylar band. Yes, I did. For anybody who was there last night and we couldn't find the prayer for the closing ordination ceremony, I found it. And there's another copy, so we do have it. Okay. Now. This, yeah, actually it's a very ancient symbol of the Orpheus. That's the group insignia of the Orpheus. It can, but it represents the flame, the eternal flame. Okay, still going in the door. 10-minute breaks last a half hour. Hour-long lunches last 2. I mean, crowd control. Okay. I don't have my bagpipes with me. Who needs it with the lungs I got? Okay, everybody ready? Sound like we're at an auction here. But I can't talk that fast, so I won't even pretend. 3 more years like this, and I'll be
Just in the nick of time.
okay. What I would like to do, before we get into the heavy data, dry data stuff, I want to take down one more experiential thing that I was going to do at the end before we left, but everybody was really itching to get up out of their seats. So now that we're all done with our itching and we're trying to get seated again, I want to stress one thing about the vibrational experiences we've been having here. They're very important. I tried to take you through an experience, and with Preston and Nancy helping, So you begin to experience the reality of sound, of visuals, which are a form of light, and of vibration as it moves through the world, as it moves through your systems. Vibration actually is sound. You don't necessarily hear it, but somewhere it has a tone. And sound is the first part of the morphogenetic field, out of which the scalar field of standing waves, light, emerge. Sound, from the words we say to ourselves in our head, to what we speak outside to people, to the sounds that bombard us from every angle in this culture, directly affect our morphogenetic field. They either help it to resonate higher or lower. Sound is also a very powerful carrier of energy. Just like in here, little seeds in here going from one end to the other. They're carrying sound, vibration from one end of this tube to the other. When we understand little things like this, we have the ability to understand how the earth grid works. We begin to realize we are a force that has the ability to change and make shifts, not only in our morphogenetic fields, but in the morphogenetic field of the planet, which means we can either help to evolve the planet or de-evolve the planet, depending on what kind of energy vibrations we're putting into the planet. I wanted you to touch base with these concepts, because at the end of this, after I give you a real quick dose of the history we're coming out of, that we're going to make sure it doesn't repeat itself again, and a real quick update on what's going on now, between now and January 1st, that we're being asked to make a stand, to make a difference. It all ties in together. Because if we can begin to understand the power of vibration, when we are asked to do certain things to help this planet, we will understand why those things work. We will understand our power. If we don't take our power seriously, we diffuse it. Oh yeah, well, okay, it doesn't work really. What are we doing silly stuff for? It's not silly stuff. I wanted you to begin to feel. That's why I was trying to get everybody. You have to move when you hear those beats. Feel them. Let them move through you. You're shifting energy when you do. When you move energy, beats, let's say you stomp on the earth, you just set a pattern of vibration into the earth's morphogenetic field. If you have a whole group of people stomping or marching or twirling, they are setting impulses into the earth's morphogenetic field. Now, down in Sarasota, Florida, where we were asked to move for God knows what reason at the time, Sarasota, Florida, where's that? Florida somewhere. Well, we found out we were guided there because there's some very important things going on there that I'll talk about in a little bit. Right after, I want you to feel personally what vibration can do. There are things happening in the grid that we need to learn how to use our power that's right in our bodies to set different vibrational patterns into the Earth's grid. Down in Sarasota, what spontaneously emerged among the more New Age crowd down there, for no real solidified reason other than it was a good thing to do, they call them drum circles. And it's really cool. I never saw one of these things. So we moved down there, and every Sunday on the beach, they do this really cool thing where sometimes 50, sometimes 100 people assemble. A bunch of them have drums. They sit in a circle, and then like the circle thickens around them. Some of the people get up and dance in the middle, and the children play in the middle. And they drum rhythms, just like the Native Americans used to. You know why the Native Americans used to do this? And so do a lot of the African tribes? They're fully aware of the fact that setting rhythms in motion is setting vibration in motion, and it changes and affects the planet as well as the people. They weren't just sending signals to each other. They were programming the planetary grid. They knew this because they were more in touch with the connection to the Earth, because their culture didn't feed them a belief system that told them to totally separate themselves from the Earth. So they were more fortunate. Now, we're going to learn about a little way of moving vibration from one place to another. And this is really the way scalar grids work. Scalar grids are what our consciousness is composed of, what our bodies are composed of, what the universe is composed of. A scalar grid is simply a set grid of sound tones, that when consciousness intersects with those sound tones, they begin to vibrate and set in motion. And when they vibrate, they burst into a fission-fusion process that creates a standing wave. It's like a wave of light that just stands and just oscillates. Now, when you see a bunch of scalar waves together, they appear to move. They look like waves moving, sound waves, light waves. They look like they're moving. What's really happening is they're all standing still, but there's a pulse of consciousness moving, just like a string of light bulbs. When you see marquees with lights going around and around, one will go on, then off, the next one goes on and off. The signal is just firing of different points that are fixed that give the illusion of the movement, of vibration. We're going to do that. We're going to do an exercise that shows you how the vibration can move. Because I'm going to get you to move a rhythm through each other and then down into the earth. Each row is going to move a rhythm down into the earth, down into the earth. There's a reason why I want you to learn this basic principle. Because when you're asked to help, what's happening on December 31st to January 1st, this is one of the techniques you're going to need to know. You're going to need to understand the basic principle that I'm not just making weird vibrations here. I am helping to reprogram the grid system on the planet. It's about moving vibration. Drums are great for that because they will set up a beat for you, just as you heard with Preston's music. They all had a beat. They all said something to the morphogenetic field. We hear beat or feel the rhythm. Our minds kind of go, that's a rhythm. Our bodies respond to it in certain ways, specific ways. So does the earth body. So, what we're going to do in the first exercise is kind of funny. And see, I'm also trying to get y'all used to feeling comfortable with people and with each other. That's why I like staring into each other's eyes things. Some people are like, they're not used to intimacy at all. We're used to keeping our feels down from each other. In this group, when we're in this room, we're here because we care about spirituality, we care about this race, we care about ourselves and each other. Here, at least, you don't have to have those shields as strong as you would perhaps walking down the street or whatever. So I want you to all get comfortable with each other. Because those of you who are going to participate in the thing on New Year's Eve, we're going to create your groups and you're going to do your part in helping make a stand to get the freedom back for our planet. You're going to need to feel comfortable with each other and say, okay, for this moment in time, we can relax together and we can join our fields a little bit to allow the collective of who we are as a collective, which is greater than the sum of its parts, to move through us and make us even a more powerful force of healing on this planet. So, I'm basically going to have you, the people on this end, I want you to all face this way. Okay? Turn around and face this way. Turn your bodies with your back is toward the person behind you. Yeah, where you're all kind of like a train. And this way would face these guys. This way. And if you're holding anything in your hands, put down on the floor for now. Okay.
Get your back, I can move my chair.
No, why don't you just take
It's really funny. People are looking like, what is she up to now? I love it. The element of surprise. Okay. All right. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just, and I was hoping to have a round for this, but it's not here, so we're going to use this. More hands. Okay. I'm going to... I won't say I need a hand because I don't need applause right now. That's not what I mean. Raji's going to help me. He's going to do a wonderful thing as far as turning this wonderful instrument into a percussion instrument, which is a very talented thing to do. I wouldn't have any idea how to do this. I'm going to set a basic rhythm with this. First thing I want you to do is on yourself. Okay? Now I'm going to scream this because I need hands to do this. First, I want you to put your hands like this over your heart chakra. And just begin. Just begin to tap lightly. Whatever rhythm feels right for you. Just begin to tap. So you can hear it. You can hear the bone kind of reverberating with it. Feel what that feels like and stop. And start it again. Become aware of that spot. And the difference when that vibration is moving through and it stops. There is a difference. You are moving energy when you run that rhythm. Now, I'm going to shake the stick. And try to get everybody using the same rhythm. It'll be a real simple rhythm. Okay? First we'll start with, let's see. Pick it up. If you feel like you want to start moving your feet to it, do it too. Feel some sensation there? You can put this any place on your body. If you have something that hurts, drum on it. Preston taught me the secret to that, and then the Guardians amplified it for me. He does wonderful healing work by literally placing a block with and using drumsticks and doing rhythms on different parts of people's bodies. It's awesome. He did it on me once. I was like, wow, this stuff works. He was part of my training in learning about rhythms. So I could teach you about setting patterns into the earth grid and into your own bodies. Okay, so we started at the basics. 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to have you turn the person in front of you whose back is in front of you. Do it on that, but we're going to wait. We're going to do it in sequence. We're going to start with the person on this end over here. And she's going to do it here. And then when you get it, you're going to pass it here. And then you're going to pass it here, and then pass it here, and pass it here. Once you pass it, stop. Okay? Pass it to the next person. When the person on the end gets it, do it with your feet down into the earth grid. Okay? We want to get it. It's going to be a little hard to get it all in sequence right away. But get the concept of passing that vibration down, 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 and down into the air. So the people on the end will be responsible for the feet. Okay? And the ones behind each will be responsible for passing it down through the backs, through the heart chakra. You are setting it through the astral body, by the way, by using the heart chakra. So you're setting a vibration through the astral body. It'll go down through the physical body and out those feet and into the earth grid. Okay? This is a secret that the ancients knew. This is why the Atlanteans walked the ley lines. They walked them very carefully with very specific rhythms, and they set their own rhythm into the grid, and the grid responded. So we're going to do this. We're going to start with, I guess I'll try to hold the rhythm with this. Maybe I'll let you do this. You're better at holding the rhythm than I am. We're going to listen to Laraj. You just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Start there. Turn to her back. You turn around. Yep. You do that on her back. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Right in the center of the back, over the back of the heart chakra. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pass it down. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it going first before we worry about stopping it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pretend you're scalar waves. 1, 2, 3. But her, on each other, not on yourself. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't have the feet on each other. Just get the vibration going. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We're going to have the first person. 1, 2, 3, then stop. 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 And 1, 2, 3, then stop. Alright, you see the concept that I'm using here? We're moving vibration through each of these biofields. These biofields are transducers of energy. The people, God bless you, that last night agreed to be group leaders. There were 6 of you. Remember this, because this is part of what you're going to be asked to get your group mobilized to do. To set the grids. First, to get a beat going within themselves, with their own bodies. Then passing it through the group. Then stopping, and all of you are going to express it through your feet. We're going to all turn native. We're going to do what the Native Americans do, what the Africans do, what the Atlanteans and Lemurians did. We're going to set the tones in that grid to counteract what's going to run through it. Okay? And we're going to do it while we do the Aria Kumnare song, because that opens the grids to receive the true program. So, now, I'm going to get back into the dry data boring stuff. Now we got to play again. Now, I'm going to tell you why it's important for the people who weren't here last night. I'm going to show you some of the things that are happening. First, I'm going to tell you a little history on it. It goes back to Nibiru. It goes back to the last time we had an ascension cycle. Now again, for anybody who's forgotten, an ascension cycle is not just a spiritual word. It's a biophysical phenomenon that occurs when the Merkaba fields of planetary systems line up on a vertical axis within the multidimensional scale, allowing frequencies from the highest dimensions to spiral down into the lowest dimensions. It creates a stellar bridge of energy, and another word for ascension cycle is stellar activation cycle, or Stargate cycle. What happens during these cycles is a stellar bridge of energy, a frequency bridge of multidimensional energy that picks up speed as it spirals down, links with the electromagnetic fields of the Earth. And it spirals into the Earth's fields, and it spirals into the Earth's core, and it spirals through the Earth's grids. This is what makes the 7 seals on the 7 primary chakras on the planet open. This is what makes the Stargate open. This is what we're going for. For the first time in 210,216 years. This is phenomenal. Gosh, we should have this all over the news. And forget solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. Who cares? This is little stuff. This is major, and it's exciting if we know what to do with it. Okay? Now, if we were going through it easy, where it was simply preparing ourselves, as we've been trying to do, learning about the DNA and learning about activating it, that would be great. The chances of it going smoothly would be much higher than they are right now. What we're going through is what happened. It's a repeat of the karma that happened the last time the stellar bridge tried to ground into the Earth's core. The ascension cycle began 210,216 years ago, and it was commencing. And once it starts to commence, which means once that spiral of energy starts to spiral through the Earth's fields, it doesn't stop. It goes its course whether or not the morphogenetic field of the planet can hold the vibration or not. Ideally, if your planet and your people and the life forms on it are in balance, it will hold the energy. And you'll all go through it and you'll have a really rapid acceleration of your evolution during that period, and it'll be a great thing. If you have imbalances, you may have some problems. You may have tectonic cracking. If it gets really bad, you may have pole tilt. If we were just moving through this on our own without interference, pole tilt would not be something we had to worry about. We would probably be able to get ourselves together enough to help the planet through where we might get some strange weather patterns. We might get some areas that had tectonic cracking, but it wouldn't be something that was going to decimate our civilization. Unfortunately, we are being tampered with, just like we were the last time. And the last time, what happened was, because the stargates of Amente, the halls of Amente stargates, that lead to Orion, that lead to Mintaka in Orion, that lead to other time matrices, they're so valuable. Earth is valuable to other ET races who want control and dominion. The ones out of the Draconian matrix, the ones from Nibiru. They want control of Amente. The last time, they came in and attempted to get control of Amente. And when it was time for the stellar bridge to ground, when it was time for that frequency bridge to begin spiraling through the solar spectrum, down in, through, into the atmosphere, into the Earth, they changed the pulsing that was running through the ley lines, that was running through the vortices. So when the stellar bridge hit, now it has a 12-dimensional frequency in it, stellar bridge. When it hit, only 10 of the 12 frequencies could plug in. This left 8th dimensional and 12th dimensional frequency flying loose within the planetary grid, which would have caused pole tilt eventually, but they didn't have a chance because it went into that faster for the reasons I'll explain. When the stellar bridge grounds on a 10 code rather than a 12 code, as it's supposed to naturally. It will do several things. One, it will not permit the full grid merger of the three harmonics of the planet to take place. There'll only be a partial merger. So it's a way to wedge open the portals between the spaces, but to stop the full merger. Usually everything will start to spin at that point. Now, the last time this went down, they opened it on a 10 code, which gave those who have 10 code DNA the black sun matrices, the ones who carry the black sun substrand matrices. We talked about that in one of the other workshops, where they have the cube-shaped rather than the tetrahedron-shaped codes in the morphogenetic field for the DNA. They are not able on their own to go through strand fusion, which allows soul integration and over-soul integration. They're phase-locked because of their gene code into the time frame that they're in. This is a mutation that came down from the Draconian matrix to the Anunnaki matrix down to the human matrix. Okay? Now, a 10 code being, if it tries to walk through a portal that was opened on a 12 code, they can't ground the 8th and 12th dimensional frequencies. They explode. So usually there's a natural security system in planetary stargates where anything that doesn't have its full range of coding, which means it's not going to have the consciousness that goes with the 12th dimension, which is the full avatar, the Christ itself, or the 8th dimension, which connects to the monadic identity, which goes into your God seed. If they don't have that consciousness in there, they function differently. They don't remember the connection to source. They don't operate out of spirituality or concern for other people. There's a consciousness gap that goes with the DNA gap. It's not good to have those type of beings in control of the time matrix because they make everybody else suffer because they don't know any better. What they really want to do is get power and control so they can continue to drain energies off things because they can't draw it in from source anymore because they don't have the codes that plug them into the monad, that plugs them back into the God seed. So they siphon energy off systems down here. They're stuck in time, and they suck energy off things that are stuck in time. So their motivation for wanting stargates is to expand their territory as far as feeding grounds go. These are the ones that are consciousness gestalts. They have their manifestations on the soul levels, in harmonic 2, but also down here. There are people that are fortunate enough to be born through those matrices. They don't know it. They're no different than you or me. Some of us might be those. They can get on a better course of evolution. That's what part of the ordinations things are about. They can get a host matrix where they get the light codes given back to them, and then they can pull away from that matrix and using them to feed off the planetary energies, because that's what they use their children with black sun for. But the ones from Nibiru have a habit of every time the stargates open, they try to get here and get control of them and open them under a 10 code. Usually they're not successful. The last time they were successful, and they opened it under a 10 code. There were certain groups of guardian races that were sent in very quickly to try to override it. They were called the Orifim, and they were a combination of the founding race, Anahazi, from the Syrian races, which were like the Christed beings of the Syrian strains, combined with the Tauridicine and human imprint, the highest of both strains. They have some of the highest codings in the universe. They were sent in to try to correct it before it went real bad. And we were sent in too late. It failed miserably. What happened as a result of that is Draconian, through the Nibiru, got control over the many portals, and they began to work their way up through into Tara, and they were going for Gaia. The consequences of allowing them to get control through Gaia of the Mantaka portals was worse than the consequences of stopping the process. It was the lesser of the evils. Guardian races from the 3rd and 4th harmonic universes, they're out of matter at that point, they're not even in bodies anymore. They made a very hard decision, which was to shut them down at the Gaian level, which means they would have to, during an activation cycle, reverse the spin of the Merkaba fields on Gaia. When that happens during stellar activation cycle, it totally reverses the spin on everything else below it. Tara got the worst of it. It stopped rotation for 3 days. It reversed polarity completely, stopped rotation, decimated everything on the surface. They got as many out as they could, but there was not a whole lot of time to work with. Here, there was a partial pole shift, and it wiped out a lot of things on the surface, most things. Some of them went underground, to what we call the inner Earth, that frequency modulation zone. So there were disastrous consequences the last time. Most of us, when it was 210,216 years ago, and I believe that's 208, 216 BC. I think that's what that comes out to be. So, most of us on the planet now were through this period. We were there and incarnate in some form or another. What happened after that was even more messy. There were groups of both the light-coded beings and the dark-coded beings that went into retreat in the underground. They went down through the tunnels that do exist inside of the earth, and they crossed over through the portals into inner earth and some into parallel earth. And they continue to prosper there and grow and raise their family lines. The ones from Nibiru came and visited after some of them started to resurface again, and it could be inhabited here again. That's when they decided they were going to enhance us genetically. They came in at first, they created mutations by combining us with animal forms. Now what they will teach you, if you listen to anybody that's saying, I'm the representative of Nibiru, what they will teach you is that, oh yes, we came in when you were pathetic little animal forms, and we enhanced you so you could become the nice humans that you are. You know, they're trying to make themselves look like they created us. It's a lie. They did not. They mutated our gene strain. They made it so we were phase-locked into third strand development and couldn't plug 4 or more in, which limited our perceptions to 3-dimensional reality, where all we had was 5 senses, we could only see what was going on before our faces. There were times after that, about 150,000 years ago, when part of the good guys, Syrians, came in and tried to fix it. And they got help by the Palladians. It was a mess here, what they did with the gene code. We were mutating, we were losing our capacity to hold a 12-strand pattern. We were getting totally thrown off our evolutionary course. They came in to try to fix it with what became the Palladian seal in the DNA. And I won't go, it doesn't matter what the schematics are on that. I believe some of that's described in some of the back of the chart pack. I gave you excerpts. It's going to be Voyagers 3, which we hope to have out this year, as well as the other Kilanta book. With the Palladian seal that was put out to try to help us, it actually caught us in a time loop, because our DNA is totally connected to how we experience time here. Our DNA is really genetic time codes, because it's the sequencing and the pulsing and vibration and the scalar waves in the DNA that will determine what vectors of impulse you perceive through the DNA. Impulses and vibrations that are really just a unified field of vibration are taken, sequenced, and bent in certain ways. Light and sound get bent and moved in relation to each other in strange ways. And what that gives a person embodied within that energy form is the illusion, the holographic perception of a 3-dimensional solid matter reality system that moves forward in time. So our DNA is totally coded to make us experience space, time, and matter. So when you mess with DNA, you are messing with evolution and time and the growth that a being or a race will have in time. With the Palladian seal that was put in, we not only got stuck in a loop that would, at least loops have 2 ends that you can possibly get out of them, it stuck us in a donut over and over and over again. That's why it's still us. That's why we're still here. Very few of us have managed to get out, to get enough of the coding back where we can do ascension. This was hard work to do ascension in the last 200,000 years. Very hard work. It took a number of lifetimes where you go into the lower frequencies of D4 just a little bit after you died, and then you come right back down into the birth cycles over and over again. And every time you would carry any disharmonic patterns you inherited with you. Now, if you were in a gene code that had a disharmonic pattern because it was mutated, that means every time you came back, you amplified it. You brought in the ones from before that were disharmonic, and they drew more of the same to them this time. And exponentially, we disharmonized our complete set of coding through this. It was a mess. And even some of the best minds in harmonic 2 and 3 were scratching their heads, kind of going, oh dear, this didn't work like we hoped. They hoped it would give us a loop that would take us a little longer to evolve, to purge out the mutations. But it didn't work that way. It compounded itself. we ended up with something called a miasmic body, our shadow. It's the part of ourself that cumulatively, over the last 200,000 years, has been building up its own identity structure within our own morphogenetic field. That's the part of yourself that when you say, oh, I'm going to have a great day, it says, no, I'm going to have a lousy day. And it's, oh, I love that. I hate that. You know? It created an extreme polarity within us. The one part says, oh, we want to ascend. The other one, there's no such thing as ascension. No. The skeptic, the dweller on the threshold, it has a name. It's your miasmic body. That was created by this mess of genetic mutation and attempts to fix it that didn't work. We can undo it, but first we have to recognize it. In the end, when we do the final exercise, we'll start it with meeting our miasmic body, making friends with it and saying, let's heal together. Because you need to reverse the polarity of spin on the particles that compose it in order to be able to fulfill the process of Hoover body integration that goes with higher identity integration. All this started 210,000 years ago. This is our chance for freedom. That's why I'm not depressed when I talk about this. It's like, finally, it's about time. Let's get out the dirty laundry, air it all out, show it for what it is, and show us how to fix it. That's what we're being shown. Okay? Now, what will happen with the miasmic body? See, we're part of the planetary body. We have a miasmic body, our shadow. Our culture has our shadow. Our planet has its own shadow. It's lower vibrational particles that they're actually antiparticles that are stuck in particle fields that don't belong there. And they make it so Merkaba fields can't combine. They make it so ley line grids don't combine the way they're supposed to. They throw off the harmonics of the planet. The planet has accreted its own miasmic body as we've gone through this cycle. Part of this is going to be purging, which may cause some upheavals in places. What will cause real upheavals is the fact that our old buddies are back. Because of that planetary miasmic body, we have something called race karma, where we're going to walk through the pattern again because we're caught in the donut. And the donut means you'll just go round and round and round and amplify it every time. So if it was bad last time, it'll be worse this time if we repeat it. That's why we're being given the information so we don't repeat it. Enough already. You know? It's enough. Everybody up there says it's enough already. Do something. These people need help. And it doesn't matter if we deserve it or not at this point. It's worth helping us. We're being given the tools through chelotic science and the understanding of this paradigm. And not everybody can absorb this. This tends to be broadcast out to the highest minds on the planet, just so you know. So it's kind of special to look how that is. You have no idea how wonderful you are. The fact that you can sit here and understand anything I'm talking about. I'm so thrilled. You're very special people. We have a job to shift the time back, to shift out of the donut and not let it repeat itself again. And what does it mean, repeating itself? It means, as usual, the ones from Nibiru are back. They're messing with us again. They want to make sure our DNA doesn't activate like it will if they left us alone. They don't want us to go into multi-dimensional, multi-vector consciousness because we can see them then and we can watch ourselves so they can't manipulate us. They want control, of course, as usual, of the Mente Stargates. And they do not care if they create pole reversal in creating that control. They don't care if they wipe out whatever is on here. They have enough stock of their own that they've borrowed and stolen that they can receive under their coding if they want to. So they're not overly concerned with what it might do to the planet if they try to forcefully take control of the Mente portals. And that's precisely what they're intending to do, just like they did before. And when they did it before was when the stellar bridge was grounding. That is the end for them. They can still mess with things later and throw some disharmonics in. But the big vulnerability point is when that stellar bridge is grounding. Because if it grounds under a 10 code, every ley line, every vortex on the planet opens and activates on a 10 code. It totally throws off the harmonics of the planet. And it totally gives them access to control everything. Where those 8th and 12th dimensional frequencies that usually block them from being able to get massive control over things, they're no longer running through the grid. It shuts down the invisible security system, turns off the alarm. That's what they're trying to do. We can stop this if we understand that we have the power to directly influence the morphogenetic field of the planet. By rhythm, by sound, by vibration, and by using our bodies as living, walking conduits for frequency, the right frequency. The people in this room are drawn here because they have the ability to hold a 12-code pulse, which means they have certain genetic things that will allow them to ground the frequency of 12-dimensional coding. They may not be ready to do it yet. This is why they've been pushing the ordinations thing. It'll help you, but it'll help the planet too. Because every person who has the ordination in a link with the Rishi level, they will be able to, in very little bursts, activate your 12-code pattern that you received through the initiations. They can't run it through any one person completely or for very long, because none of us are at a level where we can sustain a 12-dimensional frequency coming through. A little burst we can handle. That's what they would like to do. Get as many people together that can hold bursts of 12-dimensional frequency coming through the silicate matrix. If you don't have the imprint from it, they won't even do that with you because it would harm you. But if you have the imprint that you get through the initiations, if you didn't have it when you were born, and if you have the link with the Rishi, they can balance and modulate those fields. The Rishi levels of identity from harmonic 5 are fully capable of pulling through pulses of 12 code. We can't ourselves set the grid into a 12 pulse because we can't carry it by ourselves yet. But we can open the grid and let our bodies be used as the energy conduit through which the Rishis can send little bursts of it through. And if there's enough little bursts of it, they'll syncopate it and how it goes. It'll form that standing wave movement. It will recode the 10 code that they're planning to send through this grid. Let me tell you about the 10 code. Somewhere in there I have the map. And these are more for you than for me. They help me to keep a flow of what I don't want to forget about. But if I go off the chart packs, that's okay. I do that a lot. So, you know, it's not a, oh, you forgot this. That's in there for you. This is in there. This is for us. Okay, I'll talk about what needs to be talked about here. So if I lose, you know, if there's pages that, well, she didn't cover this. Yes, it is. It's in there. You know, you can look at it in there. That's what your chart pack's for. Now, we have a map. Here we go. And you know, somebody was so nice to let me use their little red dot thing. And I put it down someplace and I haven't been able to find it. Is it really? I'm clueless, right? Thank you. That's the problem when you go multidimensional. You tune out what's below you and you like end up hanging out in B5 and talking to people here and whatever's going on down here you have any clue. Don't try it while driving. It's dangerous. I know, I almost crashed into things. Okay. Now, what is happening? Here's where Montauk comes in. The Montauk Project, which for a real quick refresher, and there's books out there that will tell you a lot more about it than I can. I just know basically how it operates. It was it was connected to the Philadelphia experiment in 1943, where they were using Zeta technology to create certain effects, and what they actually did was stumble across the ability to poke holes in time. It wasn't exactly what they were trying to do, but it was even better. They ended up transporting a battleship from back there up into 1983. Oh, how did that? Look at this. Then they needed to develop what that technology was. What was done was created a set of artificial time portals. Time portals are a natural occurring thing within the natural morphogenetic structure of a planet, but you can fake them by using sound and light frequency and electromagnetic pulse and scalar pulsing to force dimensional blends that aren't natural. What they don't realize is if you do this enough, you create black holes and they suck your planet in. We're not in that trouble yet. Give them a few more, a few hundred years playing with this, and our planet will go the way the Zeta's planet did. That's what they did. They created a bridge zone, actually, between their parallel and their Earth. They forced open a set of portals and kept them open for years and years until they started tracking black holes. In fact, they were sucking up all the matter on the planet, and they were going to implode, and they didn't. So, the Montauk stuff is dangerous to begin with. It was shut down for a while after 1983. In 1983, they did an experiment, knowing that now they had enough. They could make the link back to 43, where the original experiment that ripped the hole in time took place. Now they could angle it where they wanted to. by shifting the time vector, the projection of energy signals, just like our consciousness is an energy signal, and we can move it from different vectors. Well, they learned that by moving it from different vectors, they could actually end up in different space-time places. They got themselves in some trouble because some things came out of those portals that they weren't expecting. They released some forces on the planet that supposedly only existed in ancient mythology. Big shadow things that came out and like tried to get them and those kind of things. They shut it down for a while. It's been reactivated as of July. They were doing little stuff over there before that, but as of July, they've reactivated it big time for one very specific reason. They want to, and the they I'm referring to is the secret government, who at this point is terrified to do anything but cooperate with the Zetas and the Dracos. And the Zetas and the Dracos are gloating over the fact that now they have Nibiru on their side. And the ones from Orion that originally motivated them. They're getting really cocky. They really think that we're stupid and clueless enough here. And there's not enough of the ones that are awakening to do anything about it. What they want to do is this. They're using electromagnetic pulse technology. They're using interdimensional scalar wave technology to set a 10 code pulse into the Earth grid. They're going to start it. Get my little red dot. There it is. Okay, they're going to start it around Bermuda, the Bermuda base. They're going to move it up into Montauk. They're going to use those portals to send it all into different time zones of the same location. Then it's going to follow the ley lines. There's some ley lines that run straight down here. It's going to hit a place right around Miami. It's called the Miami Circle. And I just noticed articles coming out about that. There has been, right down in that area in Miami, there has been found relics that resemble the positionings of Stonehenge. And I don't know what it is. And there's a whole bunch of of the real estate developers that want to crush it. Put it out there. It's in court. They're trying to decide, whether they're going to let them build condos on top of it, or if they're going to preserve it as a historic site. Certain forces don't want it preserved as a historic site. Because they want to use it and then bury it real fast. What is happening in a lot of places, but especially down here, down in Florida, which we were guided to go for what reason we didn't know, there are certain sites down in here, especially down in this area, and then moving down and through here in the ocean, to the Gulf, down and through here a little bit, and down and through here. There used to be landmass there. And that was where part of what we call Atlantis existed, the last Atlantis anyway. Now, people don't realize sometimes that Atlantis wasn't one place. Atlantis were the places, the continents, that the Atlantean root race lived on. It was the peoples that were called Atlanteans. So we tend to refer, when we read the race memory matrix, that, it was Atlantis. That simply means the Atlanteans lived there. There are all sorts of different names to these continents and places. Okay, not just Atlantis. When we get it, if we start to get information from the race memory matrix, it was Atlantis, it's just telling you it was one of those places the Atlantean root races lived. The history that goes with it is still valid. There was just some complicated names that couldn't even be translated into English. So look at it as Atlantis. That's fine. Yeah, you get the gist. What I'm finding, and I'm utterly amazed, is particularly because Sai Baba guided me to this apartment. He knew what he was doing. We are sitting in Sarasota on top of what used to be the Nephilim temple in Atlantis. It was used to control something called the Cathara grid. There is a sphere of energy way down in the Earth's crust in the D2 frequency levels, right off here, off the coast of Siesta Key, which is part of Sarasota, Florida. I talked a little bit last night about the Cathara grids. You want to modulate between that and the one of the Cathara? To give them a refresher on the Cathara that's in there. I'm going to show you the Cathara grid again. It's in some of the old chart packs. It was in there somewhere. Just hold it up with this. Here's one. There we go. Okay. Now this was the Cathara grid that went with the human body. So when I'm talking about a Cathara grid, this is what I'm talking about. Okay? It is the core structure, the first structure the morphogenetic field will take, and everything else, as far as the light sound grid that gets built, will get built upon this structure and upon the programs that are held within the crystallizations. The programs for manifestation are held in crystallizations of part of K, part of Chi, and part of Count. So the body has one of these, everybody's body. So does the Earth. And the Earth is connected to Tara and Gaia and its higher parts through one of these. And these are multidimensional. They actually go out this way, out this way, and this way. I read that again. I'm going to surrender on this pretty soon. I surrender. Here you go. I'll use my finger. Okay. Now, these are actually multidimensional structures. It would be dimensional. You have this here, and this here, and this here. There's several sides to them. There's actually 12 sides to the whole universal structure of them, but we won't get into that because it makes everything amplified too many times to follow. We'll stick with one. Now, with Earth, Tara, and Gaia, and then its liquid light version in harmonic form, the three Cathara spheres that control the whole morphogenetic field of the Earth's shield, or the planetary scalar grid here, are 1, 2, and 3. Tara has 4, 5, and 6. Gaia has 7, 8, and 9. And 10, 11, and 12 are coordinates within the crystalline liquid light matrix of harmonic universe 4. These correspond directly to the planetary shields that we talked about in that one workshop where we got into personal healing to planetary service. We talked about the singing shields, the scalar grids of Earth, Tara, Gaia, and how they merge through ascension cycles. So when we're talking about the Cathara sphere that's off the coast in the Gulf of Mexico, we're talking about number 2. Now, numbers 1 and 2 are on the main vertical current. And if anybody remembers the stuff we talked about with the body, that is the control line for the other 2. So the spheres that are on this line control the others. And the ones higher control the ones lower. Now, in each harmonic universe, you have dimensions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every middle one, which is the overtone, you have bass tone, overtone, resonant tone in every stack of 3. The overtone controls the program, which means in the Cathara spheres, 2 would control the program. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See how it goes? So the center ones, the overtone spheres, are the control spheres. In the Earth shield, you can go back to the map. You can go to the map. In the Earth shield, thank you, I don't know what it is to do it. Oh, okay. Okay. Now, the Cathara sphere that is in these 2 frequencies in the morphogenetic field off the Gulf of Mexico here is sphere number 2. That's the prize. That controls the other spheres, 1 and 3. Whoever has control of those has control of the ley lines, the morphogenetic field, every vortex, and every stargate on the planet. Now, this is what all this stuff is about. They want it. The negative side wants it. What they already have. They have number 1. I believe that's the one in the South Pole. It's under the South Pole regions. And they have number 3, which is the one in the Bermuda Triangle. All they need is the last one. That can't be allowed to happen. Because if they get it, they will open it. It's going to begin its activation cycle very soon with the opening of the 4th vortex in Giza on January 1st when we expel the bridge against the ground. If that opens under the 10 code, everything else opens under the 10 code, we go into pole shift. And it will take about 5 years. The scientists are worried about, well, this effect might create that someday, or that effect might create it someday. They're not going to have time to worry about what effect created it. It's just going to bang, and they're going to, what in the world is happening here? Electromagnetism is going crazy. Yeah, it's going to be like one of those frenzies. It can't be allowed to happen. If it does, it's going to be a disaster here. The people here, I mean, ultimately we all eventually evolve back to source. We may have to start a space dust again, but eventually we're never separated from source. We just have to grow back into it. We've come a long way. We don't want to lose that now. We can do a lot to stop the potential of pole shift and earth changes if we make sure that stays under guardian control, stays under the 12 code like it is right now. More than that, since they're linking them all together through this pulse, we have the ability that if we know how to change that 10 code into a 12 code pulse, we have the ability to not only keep this safe, but since they've already connected them all for us, we can send the 12 code back to this one and down to the South Pole and get them all back in one fell swoop. This all at the same time, right in the time frame that the stellar bridge begins to ground. We've been asked to reprogram into the grid using their path a 12 code pulse between noon of December 31st and basically noon, but we don't have to worry about noon here. It's at another location of January 1st, 2000. So by the time they're going to be sending that pulse out, right around here in the New York area, it's going to hit between, I believe, 12 and 2. So that is the areas of time when certain techniques, kind of like what we were doing here, as far as transmitting vibration into the ground, are going to be needed. They'll catch it and recode here. There's a group in North Carolina, there's groups in Jersey, there's groups in North Carolina. We're all going to be doing at different times, synchronized with each other. Particular ritual of programming in codes, allowing the rishis to run a 12 code, little bursts of it, through us as we open the grid lines and give permission for our fields to be used for this. It doesn't hurt you. It actually accelerates your evolution a little bit. Somebody asked, does it accelerate the aging process? Only if your strands can't keep up. You know, actually, if your strands keep up with you and you're working to activate them, you can actually start reversing the aging process. It's only when strands can't, that more field can't expand anymore, and it hits more frequency, that it starts to go into compaction. And that's when the aging process becomes evident. The ones where, this is why people who aren't ordained, they won't do this with. You can participate, but they will not run a 12 code through you. They will not take a chance of harming you. But when you have a rishi bonded in your field like that, it will modulate the frequency. So your capacity won't be overrode. You won't be harmed. You'll just probably get really juiced and feel, wow, this is neat. You know, you can get. I can't even fathom what it's going to be like. We're doing a thing down on the beach in Sarasota for that time period. Our time slot is like from 7 to 9. Down on the crystal beaches of Sarasota, Florida. Anybody wants to come down, you're welcome to join us. Yeah, we're on PM. Yep. Yeah, and actually people further up here, and they're not even being contacted by me, but it's very interesting because I think they're going off through this area, from Maine to the New England states, and they have affiliates over in the Boston area, and that's why somebody from Boston just said, you should know me. And I was like, yeah, okay, I got the message. They're being given a synchronization to do. That will combine with ours. We'll do ours here. There's going to be some hoopla down here on the beach in Sarasota because people are coming from North Carolina and stuff and from Pennsylvania down. I don't know how big it's going to get. It started out with just a couple of us and we got to do this. And they've been calling me and actually getting a hold of me, which if anybody's ever tried to call me, that's like a miracle in itself. Yeah. They're being sent down, whoever belongs there. If anybody gets the urge, they really should be there, there's probably a reason for it. And if there's a reason for it, just simply say, okay, how am I supposed to make it happen? Because if you're supposed to be there, the way will show itself to you. Some of you were needed here to hold the fort up here. There's a fort, as you call, in North Carolina. It's funny, my publisher is going to be running part of that one. The one who publishes the Voyagers book, Grant Publishing. You know, they're very good with that. That's why they have those books. They're not just people who are making money off New Age books. They're people who understand. Yeah. So they're going to be doing something with other people from North Carolina. We're going to set a new pulse in here, and we're going to get it right. That's what we're aiming, into that sphere, the second Kathara sphere. Because as soon as we get a 12 code manually put in there, it will begin shooting that 12 code all the way through the grid line. And by the time their pulse that they already sent time to hit Giza right at the specific calculations when they figured out that the stellar bridge was going to start its frequency infusion into the Great Pyramid, which is what all the hoopla about putting the capstone on. It will be a 12 instead of a 10 that greets me. This is going to cause a little problem for many of the people that will be drawn to gather there are 10-coded people. They will be getting lots of energy even through their systems that they can't really handle. It won't hurt them instantly, but it will accelerate their process of molecular compaction. They will also be offered on the inner, on the astral level, an opportunity for host matrix into a light matrix code where they can process that frequency and get out of the phase lock on their gene code. So they'll be taken care of. They're not going to be like, fried or anything. But as it comes through Giza and goes into the earth core, into Amente opens under the 12 code. Problem solved, at least for the immediate future. Because if Amente opens and that second Kathara sphere opens under a 12 code, there's nothing they can do about the fact it's under a 12 code now. Because once it's open under that code, you can't change the code. That's why they're going for it now. Because the stellar bridge is due to ground. basically between noon on the 31st of December and noon on January 1st, 2000. That begins the opening cycle of the fourth vortice. So basically, it's highly advanced geologic science we're being asked to do here. But it's no more complicated than what the Native Americans and the Africans and the Atlanteans and Lemurians have been doing all along. They didn't need the technical understanding. They had the intuitive understanding. Their bodies understood it. As was demonstrated earlier, when it was basically jumping out of my skin trying to say, move your bodies to the rhythm, feel it, you know. We're not used to moving our bodies, hearing our bodies, listening to our bodies. We're used to making sure they behave. You can't feel the earth body when you do that. You want to be able to feel the earth, you got to feel your own body first. It's a part of the earth. So when I try to get you to move and feel, I'm not just saying, you know, wiggle around like a worm. I'm saying loosen up your feels so you can begin to feel the earth, because the earth will tell you many things. People say, well, exactly how do I do this? Especially very rational, logical people go, well, exactly what is the timing? You and your body know this already. We'll give you some basics, but as far as setting those codes, each one of you has a rhythm and a tone. When you came through Mente into birthing here, when you first entered Harmonic Universe 1, I don't know what your tone is, or your code, or your rhythm. The planet knows, and your body knows. You need to be able to, when you do the simple, we're going to do the Uriah Kumnare, because it opens up the 8th dimensional frequencies and allows the ley lines to be reprogrammed. It allows the spheres to be reprogrammed. It allows your DNA to be reprogrammed. It allows your DNA to hold those bursts of 12th dimensional frequency. So we'll use the Uriah and build it and build it and build it. We used to build these incredible force fields with this back in John's time. So it's real. Then you're going to be asked to trust yourself and feel the earth. And if your body feels like moving, let it move, because that may loosen up what that particular rhythm is. You're going to be asked to go into a state of harmonic resonance with your body, and then with the earth, and then with the group you're with. That's where the group leaders come in. You're going to try to help these people create this harmonic resonance. You were given some tools today. And I'm sorry I don't have them written in the chart packs. They were given to me spontaneously today as we went along. Just, oh, there they are, download. So, it can be a very powerful experience for you personally as far as healing and feeling a connection you might not have ever felt before to the earth, to each other, to the universe. But you will be doing a service that can't even be measured. I'm not even going to put grandiose words on it. Oh, we're saving the planet. People laugh at stuff like that. And we don't need it to be grandiose. We're doing advanced geologic science, morphogenetic mechanics that are based on 15th dimensional physics. It's a whole lot more real than what the scientists are playing with their little mechanical devices. We can do this, and we can do it together, if we're willing. I didn't know it when I started my workshops, that this is where it was going. I've always trusted in working with them. I know they're helping us. I didn't realize we would be called to do something as important as this. I knew we were going through some, possibly rocky times and that kind of stuff, and we're supposed to help ourselves get our DNA ready to deal with it. It has built up to this. This is what all these workshops were about. And I found out maybe like a week before you did that they were leading us to develop the skill and the understanding to set the grid where we had it in our consciousness now, to know how to conduct ourselves, to change these things, to make a stand for our planet. Because we're the few people on the planet, and there's going to be some more groups like this, who have enough coding activated in the DNA where they can understand anything I'm talking about. That is a gift right there. I mean, can you see me going out on the street and trying to talk to just about anybody about this? What is your problem? I talk to physicists, and they're great until they say, what is base magnetic? What do you mean, what's base magnetic? It's an accreting or drawing in force. I don't even know how to explain interdimensional physics if they haven't identified base magnetic particles compared to base electrical transmitting particles. And I've gotten in arguments with physicists about this. Well, what kind of terminology is that? I don't know. kind of they use in the future. Sorry if you don't like it, take it up with them. I'm just an intermediary here. This is what we're being asked to do. It's a big job, but it's not really a hard job. I think I said enough of the hard stuff. I think I'm over time as usual. I'm going to take us through the final exercise. Let me think of how you combine several things into this. Because first of all, I want to help you to release any fear. Second, I want to help you to meet your miasmic devil. To say, hi, welcome home. We're going to fix you. So we're going to do those two steps first as we go in, and we're going to combine it into one thing. Then we're going to go into a meditation that's about connecting with the higher light fields. And it's called Building the Towers of Light. We're going to learn, and believe me, I have no idea what I'm going to say. This is going to be great. This one's coming through live. So don't often do something. And it's not Enoch, by the way. He doesn't channel verbal. Okay, that's something that he doesn't do. But there's others of the guardian lines who are fine with that. I'm not channeling exactly. I hear them, I'm still here. I'm translating what's being told. We're going to connect with what's called the blue-purple or the violet-purple spirals of light. There's sixth, seventh dimensional frequency. And we're going to take those spirals and we're going to take our discs, and we're going to make one big disc, and we're going to spiral it up through the sky, and up through into Nataka, which will run through Tara and Gaia. There's many of these being built by other light workers groups on the planet. We're connecting ours to the grid. That is the grid. It's almost like a trail of electronics that are all plugged into each other. That 12 code can be sent down through.
What happened?
So, we're going to go into a meditation. And what I want to end it with, we're going to do a transmission for those few people who weren't there who wanted ordinations, where you get the rabbinate ordination, the frequencies transmitted that will begin activation of the star crystal seal, the heart crystal seal. So if you're in the room, there's not going to be time after, we're going to do it during this. We're going to use the Uriya Kunari. After we come out of the meditation, I'm going to start singing the Uriya Kunari, and I'm going to ask the whole group, because many of you know it by now, you did wonderful last night. I was like, wow, listen to this, they're beautiful. They're going to have me do some overtones. The Raji can play as he is inspired to do. Preston is welcome to join me, because he does some wonderful bass tones, and boy, every dolphin and whale on the planet hears him every time he does that. He's got the cetacean Syrian bass tones going, which the grid of the earth responds to. That's why the dolphins and such are here. They keep that tone for us. He's very good at vocalizing. We're going to go into the Uriya, and we're going to keep the spiral going. The spiral we build in meditation. And we're going to feel it move through us. We're going to feel it move through the room. Then I'll bring you back in. And anybody who would like to join us outside later, like I said in the flyer for anybody who got it, ask to bring candles if you want to come. We're going to do a real quick one. We don't have to make spectacles of ourselves. But the area of the Empire State Building is very often used for transmission of the negative pulse. We like to go out, and you know how people sing Christmas carols and those kind of things. Real quick, not too loud. Prayer. And the Uriya. And maybe even, if people feel inspired, do something like Let There Be Peace on Earth. So if anybody walking by says, what are they doing? Oh, they're just singing like, peace on earth. Is it, will you join me in that? How many people will join me? Thank you. Thank you very much. That'll be wonderful. All right. So we're doing this in a string of events here, okay? We're going to go through the meditation. We're going to release fear. We're going to meet your shadow and take its hand and say, let's go into the light for transformation. Then we're going to connect with these blue-purple spirals of light. We're going to take our consciousness there and follow what comes through. Come back into the room. Do the Uriya. lights out for this, like, low for this. First thing that I would like everyone to do is take a deep breath. You don't have to have your eyes closed yet. Ooh, now it's nice and dark. Do we have the, yeah, there we go. They have the candles. I love the light. We, flashlight on my feet. Okay, sorry, thanks. In this workshop, we had some fun today. We learned quite a bit, and our bodies learned even more. They learned to do some things that they haven't remembered how to do since the last Millennium days. We also were confronted with some information, the shadow of our culture that's emerging right now. All right, in front of me, please. Thank you. Yeah, both would be good. Yeah, there's one more over here. Okay. We experience information today that an average person might find terrifying, might find at least a little ruffling. There's some part of us that's still very tuned in to the world we live in. That part of us may experience a fear reaction to the information we just heard, even though right now we're holding a light of consciousness that can transform that fear with no problem. So the first thing we're going to do is just, I want you to put your hands at your sides, begin to shake them gently, and feel energy running down the arms. Throw it into the earth. Great. Shake the hands a little bit. Try not to whack your neighbor. Take a deep breath. And pull any fear energy from the body. Say, okay, I'm a fear magnet now. I'm pulling it all up into the astral, into my heart chakra. Now I'm going to blow it out the arms down the head. Now I'm going to release it, and the earth will transmute this for me. It knows how. Any fear that you've carried. And anytime you get afraid, you can do this. Breathe the fear out of your body and your field, into the heart chakra, blow it down into the arms, through the hands, out the hands, down into the earth, and shake it off until your hands feel better. You'll be amazed how this can clear your emotions if you get scared or upset or whatever. You know, if you're in the argument with somebody and you're getting all tense and you start doing that, they're going to look at you like you're from the moon. So, excuse me, I'm harmonizing our conflict right now. Any fear that needs to let go. Breathe it into the heart chakra. Let it go out. Let the earth and the strength and the power that the earth has transmute it, because it can. And it will. Particularly for a group of people who are willing to serve the earth in such a way. For the earth is a conscious being that we're a part of. And it knows when it's being loved. And it knows when it's being abused. It knows who's loving and who's abusing. It doesn't mind helping you clear your fears, because you're helping it clear its fears and the things that will harm it. Now that we've released the first level of fears that we picked up today, we need to realize that we've been collecting these things for over 200,000 years. So somewhere deep down in there, in that shadow part of ourselves that all of us are terrified to really look at, that lives in our subconscious, Lord knows what you'll find in there. Even the psychologist knows that. Well, you open that door and who knows what's going to come out. That's because you have many lifetimes of disharmonic patterns stuffed down in there. You have your miasmic body. But you have the power now, because you're reaching for alignment with your soul, with your oversoul. You can clear this and heal it. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And picture yourself on a little platform, just a dark background and a little platform. There's a little you standing there, just like you are right now. of a sudden the dark background turn into a light background. As if the sun came up and now you're in a field of light. Take a few breaths and breathe in the field of light. You're breathing in higher vibration with every body cell. Every body cell. Now in your visualization, notice the body's growing lighter and lighter. It's beginning to sparkle like little star specks. You should also notice there's little dark specks emerging with the star specks. When you bring in the higher frequency of higher consciousness, it begins to vibrate loose the miasmic body. The vibration's too high for the miasmic body to sit still anymore. I want you to now feel the light coming into your physical body and imagine it coming into the little body that you're envisioning. You should breathe the light into the physical body and it moves down through the body with the breath. Watch in your inner vision as this dark shadow form steps out of you in your little body. Now you have two little bodies. One that's kind of gray and murky looking, and one that's beautiful and brilliant and shining. Picture them standing there looking at each other. Your shadow may take on many forms once it's freed from your body form. It may turn into a raging demon that has big teeth, wants to bite you. It may turn into oozing ucky stuff that really grosses you out. See, the miasmic shadow part of yourself is part of your identity. It has an identity structure. It's made of consciousness. So it has a personality all to itself. And it will manifest and show the pieces of its personality to you sometimes when you pull it out of yourself to look at it like that. Let it be what it wants to, but realize you don't have to be frightened of anything it shows you, no matter how horrible. If it starts the processing phase, where it starts to flash icky, yucky things you don't want to see at you, just kind of stand there and wait. It's a phase. It'll cycle, it'll pass. When that part of your consciousness realizes it's not affecting you, nor controlling or directing your energy, it'll stop doing that. And then I'll just kind of like hang out like, I don't know what to do with myself now. I'm used to directing this being, this consciousness, by impulsing all sorts of stuff, and the impulsing isn't working now. Gee, I'm not even in that body anymore. It's like rude awakening time for the shadow part of yourself. And that's when you have to become nurturing toward your whole self. It won't understand your words, but it will understand if you breathe in more of that light and then project it out as arms surrounding a shadow. Don't squeeze tight, just put them there. And just feel love toward it. Allow the love. Non-judgment, non-fear. Just a pure, unconditional love, as this is a being that, just like everything else, is a face or manifestation of the consciousness of God. It simply needs to be reharmonized. You don't need to consciously do that reharmonizing. Simply holding the field will allow the higher parts of your identity, to which you're both connected, to reharmonize what needs to be blended. And in the visualization now, see as those arms of light surround the shadow body. See it begin to, again, go back in, if it's shape-shifted out into a different form. See it go back into a form that resembles yours now. And see that form go a shade lighter than it was before when you first saw it. With each breath, see it go another shade lighter. Become aware of how bright the light is that your regular body's holding in the visual. And bring up with each breath the shadow body until it matches the same frequency of light. As you're doing this, you're releasing the phase lock of the particles that are trapped to form that miasmic body. You're changing their angular rotation of particle spin back into the natural spin of the rest of your particles. When you see the two bodies glowing at the same level of light, and there's no more darkness, move back from what used to be your shadow and extend your hand and ask it to take yours. And it will. Mentally say to it, let us be whole now. Let us go higher together. And move toward it as it moves toward you. And then you turn around with your back to it. Let it move into your back and you move into it. So you're positioned back together, just like you had with your astral body, getting it back in. The more you do this exercise, the more levels and layers of the miasmic body you will pull from you. You will turn them back into light. The more of those frustrated, scared, confused parts of yourself that have been buried for centuries will be allowed to come back into the higher order of your light and your enlightenment. And that's what a soul-integrated being does with themselves. Now that you've returned the shadow and turned it into light, you have given yourself back a huge amount of power that before the shadow was draining from you. You have more power now than you have in 200,000 years when that shadow began to track you. Try to feel for a moment as you breathe the new power that's coming to you now from your own being, the energy that's not trapped anymore. The level of the shadow you released now gives you as a gift the energies it was holding. And you as a gift have given it healing and reintegration so it is no longer lost and severed. That power that you have now is going to be used to build wonderful things that will affect planets and star systems and will lead you into a path of evolution that has more joy than you can imagine on this planet right now. Imagine yourself standing in your small body that is now a light body. Imagine it in your mind's eye. And remember the disc that sat upon the head that we used in the beginning of this workshop. Find it. It's up there somewhere. If it's way out there, kind of reel it in and bring it back down to sit on the top of your head. If it's a little tiny thing, like a pea sitting on the top of your head, flatten it out and make it come out to like a hat size at least. So you have your disc there. So now you're doing two vectors of perception. You're aware of the disc on the head, and you're aware of the little light body in your inner vision. Now you're going to bring the two together. Bring the light body image up into the disc. See, it's sitting on it like it's riding on a little circular magic carpet. Begin spinning your disc in whatever direction was most appropriate for you. And then begin expanding it out until you feel expanding into the room, into the collective disc, forming the entity of all of the beings here tonight, who are a collective as well, an entity that is also greater than some of its parts. That entity, that I am presence, the one composed of many, a reflection of the divine creative force, is going to create a spiral of energy. It will be colored bluish purple, indigo violet, the frequencies of the 6th and 7th dimension. We want you to begin at the base of your spines. Put your consciousness there for a moment. And begin spinning what looks like a snake of bluish purple energy, bluish violet energy, upward around your body in rings, as if you were being coiled by a very friendly snake. Not a dangerous one. Build your coil. It looks like a spring, as if you're sitting inside of a little spring of energy. And when you get it to the top of your head, connect it to the center of your disc. And again, expand your disc out into the center. And visualize in your mind all of these little purple blue-purple things that are connected to the discs, connecting in the center of the room, about halfway up in the airspace. What it looks like from D4 is a bunch of purple springs connected to a platform of light at the center. Now, as a group, circling whatever way is natural for you, you're going to become aware of that whole disc which fills the whole room, and you're going to spin it with all your might. And you're going to notice it's drawing more and more of that blue-purple energy from you. And it's not taking it from you, it's driving it directly through the earth core. And from the 15th chakra beyond the earth core that goes out the other side and way into the galaxy. You're going to bring it up through your spring that starts at the base of your spine. And you're going to begin circling that large disc in the room. And then you're going to begin raising it upward. Upward and upward and upward. High into the room. Then high into the atmosphere above this building. Keep going higher and higher. And see this spiraling construct of blue-purple energy. A blue-purple tower. Spiraling tower. Going upward and upward and upward. And imagine the disc going up so high that it goes through the atmosphere and you can no longer see the disc. All you can feel now is the blue-purple spinning. It's moving around you. And visualize, far, far away from you now, but connected to your spine, this little tiny bit of blue-purple light that's going into the planetary core of Mintaka, way up in the Uranus system. Just imagine where it is. You don't have to know exactly. Once you've seen your connection to Mintaka, bring your consciousness in any way you choose and observe what way you come back down. It'll tell you something about how your consciousness works. You'll figure it out. I'm not going to tell you. Just come back down from Mintaka now in whatever way seems natural to you. Come back into the room. Come back to the base of your spine for a moment. Drawing in a breath. And then very rapidly from the spine, push and exhale straight down into the earth core. You have laid the grounding rod for the blue-purple tower that you have created. There are about 500,000 of these on planet today. They're in groups that for the last 10 years have been creating these just to prepare for the ascension cycle. Ours is very special because it is coded to the 12th pulse. It is coded to the diamond sun matrices of DNA, which can hold some of the highest frequency on the planet. Now that we have done that, we will do the final transmission during the Uriya Kumnare Sum. For those who did not receive the Rabbinate ordination yesterday, who wanted it, if there's anyone that doesn't want to receive the transmission of this energy, you can leave the room now, and you don't have to leave, but you can come back. We'll do the Uriya, and then we will get ready to go down and continue with our blue-purple tower and our Uriya, and give our gift to New York City for tonight.
I'm going to get you going like you did last night. And I'm going to ask you to keep the Omega going. You guys noticed how you're good at it this morning. Once you get it going in a good rhythm, I will do the overtones as they are given. And Preston will do the Syrian bass tones that respond right into your substrands and help you activate it. So, yes. And this is the prayer that we couldn't find for those who were here last night. It is here. And maybe this is something we can read down there. We were supposed to do a prayer and then do the Uriya down in front of Empire State Building. We can read this to ourselves. We don't have to scream it. Okay. Start with the Uriya. Thank you. That was beautiful, by the way. We're turning into quite a choir here. I love it. World Peace Choir. Very. The transmission was given for those, yes, it was transmitted through the room. We did this last night too. This is how it was done. It was because there's too many people at this point to go through the individuals. They beam the frequency through me, and we do it through the palms, and we spread it through the room. The song carries it. It's a carrier wave pattern that takes it right into the DNA. They know what they're doing. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I feel so much love for this group of people, and a lot of it's probably reincarnational memory. But aside from that, I'm so grateful that you understand enough to sit here, to sing these songs with me, to do these foot stompings and shakings and patting on each other's backs. We have some really strange workshops. We can do the lights now if you'd like. Put them back on.
Please do today, Dana.
What?
Please do today. We did something.
You want 2 days? Oh yeah, I've done that. I've done it before.
Also, if anybody's interested in Nancy's artwork, sign a catalog back there, sign a mailing list, and we'll get you a catalog. And also, we have the medallions, sacred geometry medallions available, the flyers back there, and we have the chart packs and the books and all the other goodies, the frequency food.